Today's video is all about making a simple, smooth chocolate cake. That's what you want? Stay tuned. Welcome back. In an empty bowl, I will be saving in 2.5 cups of flour, 2.5 cups of flour, then a 1/4 cup of cornstarch. First, I did sieve the flour just to create some space, then a 1/4 cup of cornstarch, and then 1 cup of real dark cocoa powder. This is an amazing cocoa powder and it's very rich, so I love it. Your best bet would be the Dutch cocoa powder, but I got this from Cameroon and I really loved it. So I also saved that as well, so I could get rid of any grains and like any large lumps of cocoa powder because this came in stacked. So yeah, that's what I did. Now I will be adding 2.5 teaspoon baking powder, and then later I will be adding 1.5 teaspoons baking soda, and the last dry ingredient I will be adding is salt, and that will be 1 teaspoon salt. So using my whisk, I mix everything together, and that constitutes my dry ingredients. Then in another empty bowl, I will be pouring in a 1/4 cup of brown sugar, then 2.25 cups of white sugar. Because the cocoa powder is rich dark cocoa powder, that's why I add so much sugar, but you could reduce it to about 1.5 or 2 depending on your taste buds. Then I will be adding 1 cup of whole milk. First I added half a cup of vegetable oil, then 1 cup of whole milk, and then a half cup of melted butter. If this is your first time coming here, I am happy to have you. I am Patty G's Cakes and Treats, aka Patience Kingamuchu, creating contents on pastries, cakes, and everything in between. You're going to love it right here as I create content every week, and I also upload some nice shots on my YouTube channel and my reels. So here I am adding 3 eggs. These are room temperature eggs, and there are just 3 of them. After adding the eggs, I use my whisk to mix everything together because you just want everything to get incorporated. No stress, no fuss. I then added about 2 teaspoons vanilla extract. Then it was time to add my dry ingredients to my wet ingredients. But before doing that, I added a teaspoon of milk flavor. Again, I got this from Cameroon and it's a game changer in my cakes. It's not something that is common, so I didn't really list that because it was just an optional ingredient. So I poured over my dry ingredients into the wet ingredients, and again using my whisk, I mix everything together. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do hit the subscribe button. Turn on your post notification bell for future uploads. So here, in a very hot cup of water, I put in 3 teaspoons coffee. This coffee helps to elevate the chocolate flavor. So this is something you really need to add into your chocolate cakes. The taste is different. It is a total game changer. So here was I adding the coffee mix, and using my whisk, I mix everything together. That is how it goes. Mixing. I loved the texture, and because you don't want to overmix, once I was done, I knew everything had been incorporated. I poured that in my cake loaf and my 7-inch cake pan. Before pouring in the cake, I made sure I lined up the cake pans with my parchment paper, because chocolate gets really moist. You don't want it to get stuck on the cake pan. So the parchment paper always helps with this. So remember, that's something you need to do. This is something you always have to do when baking your cakes, especially chocolate cakes, because they get really moist. So I did set up my oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and I baked this cake for about 15 minutes, or until when a toothpick insected came out dry. So but first I poured in the cake, I cleaned up the bowl to make sure everything left the bowl into the cake pan while I was preheating my oven. And after doing all of this, I did tap the cake pan to get rid of any air bubbles. Again, if you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe. This was the cake after baking for about 50 minutes. It looks so good. Look at that dome. I love it. Moist, so tasty. And yes, if you've watched to this point, thank you so much. Don't forget, life can get bitter. Eat cake to make it sweet. Until next week, bye.